Looking at Facebook and YouTube is how 35-year-old Mary Grace Glorioso gets news about the Philippine presidential race. She's narrowed down her choice to two candidates. One is Leni Robredo, the current vice president, but Glorioso is leaning toward the heavy frontrunner, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., because of what she hears about him on social media.
The Philippines will prosper if he wins and bring back the golden days.
The golden days is a common theme on social media, referring to the period from the mid-1960s to the mid-80s, when Marcos' father, the late dictator, was president. But the phrase whitewashes history. The reality is thousands of people, including political opponents and activists, were tortured, killed, or disappeared. The Marcos family is accused of stealing $5 billion to $10 billion when Marcos Sr. was in power. Observers say revisionist history is part of a trend on social media to accompany positive posts about Marcos Jr. and negative ones for Robredo.
There's a machinery behind it that powers this network of purveyors of these claims.
Che de los Reyes leads the fact-checking team at ABS-CBN News, one of dozens of media outlets, universities, and civil society groups that are combating disinformation. They research suspicious statements and images to determine what is fact, what is fiction, and publish the results. De los Reyes acknowledges that the checkers face an uphill battle.
It's so easy to manufacture a false claim, right? You don't need to do anything much. You can just keep on churning and churning falsehoods, false claims, but it's fact-checking takes a lot of time.
Cleve Arguelles, a political science lecturer at De La Salle University in Manila, says young voters in the Philippines are prime targets for disinformation, especially since Filipinos on average are among the world's biggest users of social media.
They weren't alive during the time of the Marcos dictatorship, so they're also quite easy and vulnerable to pro-Marcos disinformation campaign. So they form a very large part of the voting constituency for the 2022 elections.
Marcos has told local reporters his campaign is not behind any disinformation, but Arguelles has noticed some trends.
And you can really see the intimate connection between the official campaign and what trolls, for example, what troll accounts, for example, would try to popularize and would try to trend on social media.
The question remains whether voters will base their decisions on information or disinformation. Dave Grunebaum for VOA News, Quezon City, Philippines.